All right. Well, I've talked about a couple blitz plays in here that I use to try to get some instant pressure or some quick pressure on the quarterback, and I wanted to go ahead and spend a little bit of time talking about one of the defenses that I use. It's not really a pressure defense; it's kind of a change of pace coverage defense, really. So this is something that I use mostly in like third and long situations or obvious passing situations. A lot of times, like if I have a lead at the end of the game or something like that, and I know that the person is going to pass, this is something I'll throw in there, and it's really just designed to try to get some confusion and hopefully have some good coverage. So let me go ahead and show you the play. The play that I use here is out of the dime normal, and it is corner crash 3. And I make a couple of changes to it, so we'll go ahead and look at that, and then we'll just practice it against a shotgun spread formation. Let's look at a play here like this circle play. So I only make a couple of pretty basic changes, and the first thing that I do is I select this cornerback here on the outside, and by default he's blitzing, and I'm not really a fan of blitzing guys that are this far away from the quarterback at the snap of the ball. I just think that particularly if you look at this defense here, we got nobody out there in that flat, and I just don't think that's going to be an effective defense. I don't think he's going to get there in time. So what I'd rather do is just put him in a buzz zone. You could do it a flat zone too if you wanted to do that. I prefer buzz zones a little bit compared to flat zones. And then the only other change that I make is that I take this guy here on the defensive end, this right defensive end, and I put him in contain. And that's mostly just when you're playing faster quarterbacks, it's good to have a guy in contain. And again, I'm not looking to get really quick pressure here. Mostly what I'm just looking to do is to get some really more delayed pressure, and we've got some coverage going on here that should be confusing. So if we look at the coverage, we've got going on in coverage is we've got the left cornerback is playing a buzz zone, and we basically have cloud coverage behind it. We have cover 3, except for that our free safety is rolled up over top of the left corner, and then our strong safety is playing deep middle, and our right cornerback is playing the outside third on the right side. And then we have 3 hook zones underneath it. If you notice, we have our defensive end, our defensive tackle, and then the slot cornerback on the right side is dropping into a hook zone. And then we're blitzing the middle linebacker and the cornerback. So as you can see, this is kind of a defense that kind of throws people off because you got a lot of coverages. I mean, cloud coverage isn't the kind of thing that you see a lot of online, particularly out of dime formation. And then we're dropping 2 defensive linemen off into zones, and we're bringing the middle linebacker and the cornerback on blitzes. And so that can make it hard for the person to figure out sort of who's doing what. And then normally when I do this, I'm going to run on offense here just to look at it. But normally when I do this, I control this slot. I control this player, this right slot cornerback, and he's in a hook zone. And so mostly I play that kind of like a hook zone. Although if somebody were to be over on the right sideline, I would go over and cover that. So I kind of play it. I kind of just look at it as I have basically from the hash mark over, and I just take whichever route comes open in that area that I think they might potentially throw to. And again, this is usually a defense that I'm going to run in a third and long type or a long passing situation. And so generally, like I'm not going to come up necessarily on the flat. I'm going to be playing more back against curls or things like that. That's mostly what I do. If I see like a halfback coming out of the backfield or something like that, I'll do that. Or I'll look to pick up crossing routes that are coming from the left side. So that's basically what I do when I play with that player. So we'll just take a quick look at this here. Now, as you see, I mean, it's not going to necessarily get you great pressure here. We'll go ahead and look at instant replay mode. This isn't necessarily going to get great pressure on the quarterback again. A lot of times what will happen, though, is, see right here, the cornerback, the blitzing cornerback, he got knocked to the ground by this tackle. But a lot of times that actually won't happen. A lot of times he'll bounce off that block and he'll come around the outside, and then he'll force the quarterback to scramble into the contained player. And that's what happens, that's what you're hoping to happen. But again, the nice thing about this is you do have pretty good, solid coverage behind it, and I think it's a good change of pace defense just because, like I said, you got all kinds of guys dropping into zones who your opponent probably isn't really expecting to see playing zones. So I mean, those linemen are probably going to be pretty confusing for them to look at, and then you got pretty solid coverage over the top with your deep help. So that's just a pretty basic look at the play. I'm I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Sometimes I use bump and run coverage, and the only reason I do that is so that this cornerback here, I didn't do it on this play, but I do that so that this guy here, he'll bump and run on that outside and hold that receiver up. So you can do that too. We can take a look at it with bump and run real quick. So we can put this guy in buzz zone, put this guy in contain, and then I usually manually control with this player. And you see that time we kind of got the effect that I was talking about, where this guy comes off of the block. He gets blocked, but he comes off of the block. He defeats that block, and he's going to force the quarterback to roll out. And that's where the contain player is going to make the play. And if you look here, I mean, there's really nobody that's really open. I mean, you could maybe try to throw. You could maybe try to throw to this crossing route here by the halfback. But that's going to be a pretty dangerous pass, and there's a good chance that even if they complete it, somebody's probably going to make a tackle for a minimal gain. So, anyways, this is one of the plays that I use. It's a cover defense, change of pace, kind of tricky little defense that I use, and I just think that it has a lot of coverage elements that you don't really see in a lot of defenses, so something that could potentially be useful as far as mixing up what you're doing, and that will make your blitzes more effective later on, because if you notice here, see, you got this cornerback blitzing, and so, but you're dropping all these guys off into coverage, and so when they see this, and you run this, and then see all those coverage guys going back, then that's going to make them a little bit more likely to hold on to the ball the next time you run a blitz where you don't necessarily have extra guys dropping off. That'll help your blitz get home. So just another thing to think about. Anyways, hope you guys have some success with it, and I hope it's helpful.